We live inside a peculiar delusion. We believe existence is a linear journey, a solemn quest toward some distant achievement, success, virtue, legacy. We imagine life as a race toward a finish line where we'll finally arrive validated and complete. But what if we've misunderstood the entire game? What if life isn't a pilgrimage at all, but something closer to music? A symphony's meaning doesn't hide in its final note. A dancer doesn't move to reach a specific spot on the floor. The meaning exists entirely in the playing, in the movement itself. So here's the question I want to explore with you today. What happens when we stop treating this swirling musical starlit existence with such crushing seriousness? We carry an immense burden, a constant hum of anxiety that we're not doing it correctly, that we're failing at the fundamental task of living properly. We spend our entire lives preparing to live. I must finish school to secure employment. I must secure employment to build stability. I must build stability to raise children who will finish school to secure employment. An endless cycle of deferred purpose where meaning always exists somewhere else, never here, never now. We're like readers skimming frantically toward the final page, missing every subtle description, every moment of poetry, every piece of drama, just to discover how it ends. And when we arrive, we close the book and ask, that's it? The entire point was in the reading, in the experiencing. We miss the performance because we're too busy analyzing it for hidden meaning. We're like concert goers who read the score, checking for errors while the music plays all around them, completely unheard. This is what occurs when life becomes a problem requiring solution rather than a reality demanding experience. This channel exists for those who seek depth beneath conventional thinking. We explore timeless philosophical wisdom and contemporary psychological insight to understand human behavior, consciousness, and authentic existence. If these ideas resonate with you, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and sharing your reflections in the comments. What we're about to examine might fundamentally alter how you perceive purpose, meaning, and your place in the cosmic dance. We construct this enormous architecture of seriousness around ourselves. The right credentials, the right job title, the right vehicle, the right address, the right social circle. It's a colossal performance. And beneath it, we're terrified the audience will see through the cracks, that they'll discover we're improvising as we go. And of course we are. Everyone is. The secret nobody admits. Nobody truly knows what's happening. We're all performing roles. The physician, the attorney, the executive, the parent, these are characters we inhabit. They're games. And games can be delightful as long as you don't confuse the game with your fundamental reality. The problem emerges when you forget you're playing, when you believe you are your role, that you are the mask itself. Then the game transforms into a prison. It becomes grave and serious. You must defend it constantly. You must prove you're a respectable, purposeful, upstanding person. But what's the alternative to all this seriousness? It seems frightening. If I'm not serious, if I lack purpose, what am I? Don't I become nothing, a failure in the world's eyes? This is where we harbor a profound misunderstanding. We assume the opposite of seriousness is frivolity, shallowness, irresponsible laughter. But that's not it at all. The true opposite of taking life seriously is seeing it as play, recognizing the universe itself as fundamentally playful. Look at nature. Does it appear serious to you? Watch a kitten chasing its own tail. Observe waves meeting the shore. Notice the patterns of migrating birds across the sky. Do they seem burdened by grim missions? Do clouds carry existential dread? No. They're simply expressing themselves. They're playing. The universe is, at its core, a musical phenomenon. It's a dance of energy, and a dance has no destination. It exists as its own reason for being. We've developed this notion that everything in nature serves a purpose. Birds sing to attract mates. Flowers bloom brightly to attract pollinators. Butterflies display eye spots to frighten predators. It's all engineering, all function. But this is merely us projecting our own purpose-driven anxiety onto the world. Why does the bird truly sing? Why does the wave truly break? Why does the star truly shine? Is it not perhaps for the same reason a child sings while skipping, for the sheer joy of expression? For the pleasure of it? We claim the bird sings for survival. But I must ask, why survive? For what purpose? To sing more songs. To produce more offspring who will sing more songs. You see, it becomes circular reasoning. It's like claiming the purpose of music is reaching the composition's end. It misses the point entirely. The ancient Chinese understood something we've forgotten. They developed a concept called Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action. It doesn't mean passivity. It means acting without strain, without force. It's the way of water, which wears away the hardest stone by yielding. It doesn't strive, it simply flows. And in that flowing, it accomplishes everything. They had another term for this orientation toward existence, purposelessness. To Western ears, this sounds insulting. Purposeless means useless, wasted. But to the Chinese philosophical mind, it represented the highest praise. They observed nature and perceived it as purposeless. Mountains simply exist, rivers simply flow. They're not traveling anywhere. They're not achieving anything. They're expressing their own nature. And in that expression, they are profoundly beautiful and trustworthy. We think trust means believing nature will always provide what we want, that it will remain safe and comfortable. But that's not trust. That's a demand. Real trust resembles the trust you have when throwing a ball. You release it. You have faith in the process. You don't clutch the ball and run to the other person to carefully place it in their hands. You throw it. You let it fly. Life requires this same kind of trust. It requires letting go, ceasing to grip everything so tightly, stopping the attempt to control every outcome. If you lack this trust, if you don't trust nature, both the world around you and your own inner nature, what's the alternative? The alternative is what we've created, a world of total mistrust. A world where we feel nature must be watched, controlled, managed. We can't trust our own instincts, desires, emotions. They're too dangerous, too chaotic. So what do? We create authorities to manage everything. We construct rules, laws, systems, bureaucracies. We build a world where the most important thing isn't the living of life, but its documentation. It becomes more important that your files are organized than that you're a kind human being. More important that institutional records are perfect than that libraries overflow with inspiring ideas. We're so busy measuring life that we forget to live it. We become our own jailers. We're so terrified of making mistakes, of appearing foolish, of not being serious enough that we fence ourselves in. We create what could be called all jail and no prisoner, a structure with nothing alive inside it. But life is inherently messy, inherently playful, inherently spontaneous. You cannot schedule a moment of wonder. You cannot program authentic laughter. You cannot force genuine insight. These things happen when you let go. They happen when you stop taking yourself so devastatingly seriously. A true scholar in the original sense isn't someone who studies for credentials. The word scholar derives from leisure. A scholar was a person of leisure who studied things not because they were useful, but because they were fascinating, because they were delightful. They studied what could be called the charming irrelevances of life, the things that don't contribute directly to survival, but that make survival worthwhile. Poetry, art, music, philosophy, the patterns of stars, the shapes of shells. This is play. And if you don't have space in your life for the playful, life isn't worth living. But, and this is crucial, if the only reason you play is because it's beneficial, because it helps you work better afterward, then you're not really playing at all. You're just working in a different form. You must learn to do things that serve no purpose. Pick up a stone. Examine it. Don't try to extract a lesson from it. Don't try to make it symbolize something. Just enjoy its texture, its color, its shape. Simply enjoy it. Don't feel compelled to justify the moment by claiming it advances your aesthetic understanding. Just enjoy the stone. When you can do that, you become something rare, a healthy human being. You become capable of being loving and helpful. But if you can only do things to extract benefit, you become what I'd call a vulture circling over life, waiting to profit from it instead of landing and joining the dance. So the first step is recognizing the incredible weight of seriousness we carry, seeing the structure of purpose we've built around ourselves like armor, and beginning to wonder, what if we could set it down just for a moment? What if we could learn purposelessness? What would that feel like? It would feel like the moment you stop striving and simply listen to rain. Like watching geese fly and disappear into clouds. Like watching a ship vanish behind a distant island. Like wandering endlessly in a vast forest with no thought of return. Haven't you ever done that? Haven't you ever just walked with no particular destination? You whistle idly, you tap a stick against a tree. In that moment, you're a perfectly rational human being. You've learned the art of purposelessness. And in that space, life stops being a problem. It becomes a song. And you begin hearing the music that's been playing all along. If you're resonating with these ideas and want to explore them more deeply, I've created an ebook called Beyond the Shadow that examines Carl Jung's core psychological concepts. It's designed for those seeking to understand the unconscious mind, shadow integration, and the individuation process. If you're serious about this inner work, you'll find the link in the description. It's a resource created specifically for people walking this path. But recognizing the weight is only the beginning. Now we must examine the one carrying it. We must look at this you that's trying so hard to be serious. What is it? Where did it originate? And is it perhaps also part of the game? We find ourselves carrying this immense burden. We're performing a role, and we've forgotten it's a role. We've become convinced that the mask is our true face, that the part we play, the professional, the parent, the success, the failure, is who we fundamentally are. But this you that you take so seriously, this ego, this personality, what is it exactly? Where did it come from? If you look for it carefully, it's rather elusive. It's a collection of memories, a bundle of desires and fears, a certain pattern of behavior. It's a story you tell yourself and others about who you are. I am someone who likes this and dislikes that. I am someone who did this and failed to do that. It's a concept, a thought. And like all thoughts, it's fleeting. It has no solidity. You cannot locate it in the body. Is it in the head, the heart? The brain is an instrument, a sophisticated computer, but it's not the operator. The eye cannot see itself. The tooth cannot bite itself. The thinker cannot think itself. This you is a vibration, a pattern, a whirlpool in the stream of life. A whirlpool is a recognizable pattern. You can point and say, there is the whirlpool. But if you try to grasp it, to lift it out of the river, you get nothing but a handful of water. The whirlpool is something the river is doing. It's an activity, not a thing. In precisely the same way, what you call me is something the universe is doing right here and right now. It's a temporary dancing pattern, a gesture. And like a gesture in the air, it's fundamentally empty. It leaves no permanent trace. Now, this can sound frightening. The idea that I am not a solid, enduring thing can feel like annihilation. But is it? Or is it the discovery of your true, vast nature? You are not the whirlpool. You are the entire river. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. We are all actors in this fantastic divine play. And the problem isn't that we're acting. The problem is that we're poor actors. We've become method actors who have gotten so absorbed in the role that we've forgotten the curtain will fall. We've forgotten there's an audience. We've even forgotten there are other actors on stage, and we think our role is the only important one. A skilled actor knows he's acting. He can play a king with tremendous conviction. But when he walks off stage, he removes the crown and relaxes. He doesn't go home and command his family because he played royalty. He knows it was a game. The whole of life has this same nature. It's drama. It's a play of energy. And when you know that, you can perform your part with immense passion, with compassion, with everything you have. But you won't be deceived. You won't carry the tragedies backstage. You won't cling to triumphs as if they were your permanent identity. You see, when you don't take your ego so seriously, something wonderful happens. You begin to relax. The constant low-grade anxiety of protecting this fragile fictional self begins dissolving. You can afford to be more spontaneous. You can afford to be foolish. You can afford to make mistakes because it's all part of the play. A wave in the ocean isn't anxious about crashing on the shore. That's what waves do. It's part of the rhythm. It will gather itself again. In the same way, your successes and failures are just part of the rhythm of your expression. They're not the final judgment on you because there is no fixed you to be judged in that solid sense. There is only the dancing, the flowing. This is why the Chinese sages praised purposelessness. They perceived that nature isn't traveling anywhere. It's just expressing itself. A tree doesn't purpose to grow. It grows because it's a tree. A bird doesn't purpose to sing. It sings because it's a bird. We're the same. Our purpose isn't some distant goal. Our purpose is to express what we are right now. And what are we? We are the universe. We are nature. We are that same energy that ignites stars, that shapes galaxies, that curls waves. You are not a stranger in a foreign universe. You are this universe, and it is you. So how do you live this? How do you stop taking the mask so seriously? You don't do anything. That's the profound joke. You cannot try to be spontaneous. You cannot make an effort to be effortless. That's like trying to bite your own teeth, like hearing a joke and thinking, I must laugh now to show I understand. The real laugh emerges from nowhere. It happens to you. When this realization dawns, life ceases being a problem. It becomes a game. Sometimes a serious game, sometimes a tragic game, but a game nonetheless. And you can play a serious game without taking it seriously. A skilled chess player is utterly absorbed in the game. He cares deeply, but he doesn't believe the fate of the universe rests on whether he wins or loses. He knows it's chess. So you can navigate your life. You can work, raise a family, pay bills, but you do it with lightness. You do it as expression, not as validation. You work not to prove you're worthy, but because the work is there to be done, like a mountain is there to be climbed. This is what's called working for the work's sake, singing for the song's sake. It's action without attachment. You pour yourself completely into the moment and then you let it go. You don't cling to the result. A cat doesn't pursue prey because it has a philosophy of predation. It does it because it's a cat. It's totally absorbed in the pursuit. It's a perfect expression of its nature. And when the moment ends, it ends. The cat stretches and sleeps. It doesn't lie awake wondering if it was a good cat or if it could have caught the mouse more efficiently. It is simply itself. We can learn from that. We can learn to be simply ourselves. Not the idea of ourselves, but the living, breathing, immediate reality of ourselves. When you're no longer defending a fragile self-image, you become incredibly strong. Criticism doesn't shatter you. Failure doesn't define you. Success doesn't inflate you. You can flow with circumstances. You can adapt. You become like water, soft and yielding, yet capable of eventually wearing away the hardest rock. This isn't passivity. This is supreme intelligence. It's action in accord with the total situation, not just with your narrow desires. It's the action of the whole universe expressing itself through you. So you see, the answer to the burden of seriousness isn't becoming frivolous. It's becoming playful, seeing the cosmos as it is. A joyous, spontaneous, and yes, sometimes painful dance. And seeing yourself not as a lonely dancer, but as the dance itself. If you're committed to this path of understanding and want practical tools for working with Jungian psychology in your daily life, I've also created Dialogues with the Unconscious, a 30-day guide for applying these concepts through exercises for shadow work, active imagination, and integrating unconscious material. It's not just theory, it's application. The link is in the description if this work calls to you. Now, having seen the weight of our self-constructed seriousness and having glimpsed the illusion of the separate ego, we're left with something that isn't quite a question. It's an invitation to participate. What remains when you're not busy constructing a monument to yourself? What's left when the constant narration in your head, the commentary, the judgment, the endless planning begins to quiet? What remains is the experience itself. The raw, unfiltered isness of things, the feeling of wind on your skin, the sound of a distant bird, the coolness of water. This isn't trivial reality. This is fundamental reality. The world is not something requiring figuring out. It's something to be tasted, touched, heard, seen. You are not a passenger in the universe being taken for a ride. You are the universe experiencing itself. The eyes you look through are not your personal possession. They are the eyes of life itself, observing its own creation. The energy animating your body is the same energy spinning galaxies. This isn't mystical fantasy. This is the most practical thing in the world. When you know this, not just as an idea, but as a feeling in your bones, your relationship with everything changes. You begin seeing that life is not a journey with a destination. It is a musical thing. You are here to sing, to dance, to play. But we've been taught that playing is frivolous, that it's only for children. But I ask you, what's the alternative? All work and no play doesn't just make someone dull. It makes them a nervous wreck. It makes them a tyrant. It makes them a machine. The alternative is joining the dance, understanding that your very existence is your justification. You don't need permission to be. You don't need to earn the right to be here. You are here because you are here, just as a rose is red because it's a rose. So how does one live this way? You don't try. Trying is the energy of the separate ego, the energy of seriousness. You simply begin to notice. You notice the moments when you're already not trying. The moment you're captivated by music and forget yourself. The moment you're so absorbed in conversation that time stops. The moment you're walking in nature and your endless internal chatter simply ceases. In those moments, you are there. You are fully present. And in that presence, there is no problem. There is only the dance. The goal isn't to make those moments happen. The goal is to notice that they're always available because the dance is always happening. Your very breathing is part of it. Your heartbeat is the drumbeat. This is the great liberation. Understanding that you are already free. You are already what you're seeking. You're not going to become happy, peaceful, or fulfilled at some future point. You are the very consciousness that seeks these things. And that consciousness is already complete, already whole, already dancing. The question isn't, how do I get there? The question is, how did I miss that I'm already here? We spend our lives like people searching frantically for glasses that are resting on our own forehead. We're looking for what's doing the looking. We're seeking the seeker. When this becomes clear, not intellectually but experientially, something shifts. Life continues. You still have responsibilities, challenges, joys, sorrows. But they're no longer happening to a separate you. They're happening as you. They're movements in the dance. You are not dancing the dance. You are the dance dancing itself. This is not the end of difficulty. This is not the end of pain. But it is the end of the extra suffering we create by resisting reality, by demanding life be other than it is, by clutching desperately at the solid self that was never there to begin with. Life becomes lighter, not because circumstances change, but because you stop carrying the weight of a self that needs defending, proving, maintaining. You become like space itself, vast, open, allowing everything to pass through without obstruction. Clouds cross the sky, but they don't damage the sky. Waves disturb the ocean's surface, but they don't harm the ocean's depths. In the same way, experiences cross the field of your awareness, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, but they don't damage what you fundamentally are. Because what you fundamentally are isn't a thing that can be damaged. It's the aware space in which all things appear. This is the ultimate playfulness, not the playfulness of avoiding responsibility or pretending suffering doesn't exist, but the playfulness of knowing that at the deepest level, this is all a magnificent game, a cosmic play, a divine comedy, and you are not merely a character in the play. You are the stage, the actors, the audience, and the playwright all at once. When you know this, when you feel this, you can engage fully with life without the desperate clutching. You can love without possessing. You can work without straining. You can succeed or fail without your fundamental peace being touched. This is what the sages meant by freedom. Not freedom from circumstances, but freedom within circumstances. Not the freedom to make everything go your way, but the freedom to dance with whatever comes. The music is playing. It's been playing all along. The only question is, will you continue sitting in the audience analyzing the performance, or will you stand up and join the dance? If these reflections have touched something in you, I encourage you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to this channel for more philosophical and psychological depth. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. And leave your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to know how these ideas land with you. For those ready to go deeper, check out Beyond the Shadow for understanding Jung's core psychological concepts and Dialogues with the Unconscious for practical 30-day exercises in applying Jungian psychology to your daily life. Links are in the description. Remember, life is not a problem to be solved. It's a dance to be danced. And you are not the dancer, you are the dancing itself. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Until next time, keep playing,